In this lesson, we are going to be talking about storage. So, for your warm-up, I want you to go to your journal and go to the one for lesson 7, okay? And click on this link. It's going to take you to code.org, and you're going to be looking at this app called Outfit Picker. Outfit Picker. Okay, play around with it and then answer these 2 questions in your journal. What is one input, one output, and one kind of processing it might use? If you used this app every day, what kind of information would you want it to remember? So pause the app here and go play with, or pause the video here and go play with that app so you can see how that works. I will walk you through it. If you need some assistance, you can stay on here, keep it going. Okay, so we have our outfit picker. Your input includes favorite color, season, weather. Output would be shirt, pants, or items to bring, like an umbrella. And then processing, it tells you right here. So run it. What is your favorite color? I will go with purple. What season is it? Summer. And what is the weather like today? Hot. Okay. Cute. Okay. All right. So go answer your journal question. Okay. Pause the video here. Go answer your journal prompt. So this example app asks for some information that won't change very often, such as your favorite color. Instead of being required to enter this data every time, it would be helpful if the app could remember our answers by storing it. All computers can save information for later and read saved information through storage. So our key vocabulary for today, for this lesson, is storage. And by the end of the lesson, you should have added this to your vocab slide in your journal. Okay, our question of the day is, why is storage an important part of the computing process? We are going to look at a few apps that use a few kinds of storage information, We want to identify which information could be stored so that we don't have to enter it every time. So you can grab a partner if you want to do this. You will need to download the activity guide, which is looking like this. Okay. And we can do the outfit picker together. Okay, so you're going to put your information. This is a 2-page activity guide, okay? So your information, not what I'm putting, okay? Favorite color is the information. Should it be stored? Should we store this? Should we store our favorite color? If you are going, so depending on your reasoning, so what you're going to put under why or why not, there is some flexibility about what should and shouldn't be stored. It is a choice that the app designer could make. Okay, so the most important part here is going to be your reasoning. All right, your reasoning about whether the information should be stored can change frequently. Okay, so if I made this app just for me, I'm not planning on letting anybody else use it. Yes, I'm going to store my favorite color. Okay, why? Because my favorite color, this app is for me. I don't plan on letting anybody else use it. If I do want other people to use it, if I'm going to put this in the App Store, I'm not going to store the favorite color. or I'm not going to store my favorite color because other people might use it. Now, if I could maybe in the app give people the option to store their favorite color. Okay, that's an idea. Season. Should the season be stored? No. Why? It should not be stored because the seasons will change. All right, weather. The weather frequently changes. Okay? So the most important part is going to be your why or your why not. All right, you want to be able to support whatever it is that you think, okay? So let's look at Friend Finder. Your Friend Finder and Movie Picker apps. Try these apps and talk about what information should be stored and what should not be stored and why. Again, why is the biggest reason. So pause the video here, do the Friend Finder, go through the Friend Finder app on code.org, complete this table, then go through the Movie Picker app, choose the kids movie app, and complete this table here also. Okay, so pause the video so that way you can go and do that. So we have guidelines for storage. In your groups, you can brainstorm at least 2 guidelines about what types of information should and should not be stored. And so these are some sentence stems. If the information blank, then that information should or should not be stored because, for example, and I kind of went over some of this with our outfit picker. If the information frequently changes, then that information should not be stored because it is not constant. For example, the weather should not be stored. The weather frequently changes. Okay? So we can understand a computer as a machine that does 4 things. And by this lesson, we've covered all 4 of those, okay? Input, output, storage, and processing. So now we're going to watch this short video. That is called the IOSP model, okay? And while we're watching this video, I want you to think of something that you do on the computer. What sort of input, output, storage, and processing are happening?
My name is Mei Ku, and I'm a designer and an inventor. So some of the things I've designed have been at Apple, and now I design products for kids to use so that they can have an easier time in school. My other jobs include DJing and dancing. As the pioneers of computer science explored how to design a thinking machine, they realized that it had to perform 4 different tasks. It would need to take input, store information, process it, and then output the results. Now, this might sound simple, but these 4 things are common to all computers. And that's what makes a computer a computer. First, we're going to talk about input. This is my favorite because what input is the stuff that the world does or that you do that makes the computer do stuff. You can tell a computer what to do with the keyboard. You can tell them what to do with the mouse, the microphone, the camera. And now if you're wearing a computer on your wrist, it might listen to your heartbeat, or in your car, it might be listening to what the car is doing. And a touch screen can actually sense your finger, and it takes that as input on what it's doing.
All these different inputs give a computer information which is then stored in memory. A computer's processor takes information from memory, it manipulates it or changes it using an algorithm, which is just a series of commands, and then it sends the processed information back to be stored in memory again. This continues until the processed information is ready to be output. How a computer outputs information depends on what the computer is designed to do. A computer display can show text, photos, videos, or interactive games, even virtual reality. The output of a computer may even include signals to control a robot. And when computers connect over the internet, the output from one computer becomes the input to another, and vice versa.
But across all computers, regardless of the different types of technology they use, they're always doing the same 4 things. They take in information, they store it as data, they process it, and then they output the results.
All right. So, what is something that you do on the computer let's say, for example, writing an essay for a class, okay? What sort of input do you have? When you're writing an essay, you're typing. So that's going to be your input. Okay, what kind of output is there? It shows up on the screen. So whatever you're typing is showing up on the screen. What kind of storage and what kind of processing are happening? Well, Google Docs saves your work automatically. Okay, processing, we have to have whatever you're typing actually has to be converted from binary into ASCII characters. And we will get into that a little bit later. But I want you to think about now, what kinds of input, output, storage, and processing are used in a modern smartphone, okay? If you have an iPhone, what kind of inputs are there? You've got your hand, you've got a touch screen, okay? You've got a camera. All right, what kind of outputs are there? You have speakers. Oh, you also have a microphone. Duh. Okay, you have speakers, you have a screen, that's output, okay? Storage. I think 128 gigabytes of it, right? For me at least. Processing. What kind of processing is happening on a smartphone? A lot of, like, if you go back and look, and I'll pull it up for you, what are your options for processing? Okay, if then, a lot of that is happening. If my camera sees my face, then my phone unlocks. If it doesn't, then the keypad pops up. If I enter the correct passcode, then my phone unlocks. If it doesn't, I get 2 more tries, and it's going to repeat that. And if I continue to get it wrong, then my phone locks for 60 seconds. And that just continues to increase if I continue to get it wrong, or if my child continues to get it wrong. Okay, so, yeah. All right, so our key vocabulary, again, is storage. So for your closing journal, I want you to think of an app you would like to make. What information would it store? Pause the video here so you can answer that in your journal, and then whenever you're done, go ahead and come back. Add your key vocabulary storage to your vocabulary slide, okay? And you know what? I also want you to add the IOSP model to your vocabulary, okay? What is the IOSP model? Input, output, storage, processing model that computers use. Okay? So, also add that. It's not technically part of your vocabulary, but now you know what IOSP model is, so if I talk about it in another video, it'll be helpful for you to have that little bit of information. And that's the end of today's lesson.